Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and evening, depending on when you're joining me. I'm Gail Hanlon, and I am your host for Everything Homeschooling. For 30 years, I've been with kids and parents, helping them navigate the challenges of alternative education, naturally educating their kids. And so, welcome again. Please stay tuned. Go get some nice that help you relax, a drink, and tea, whatever. My favorite is Darjeeling tea. Really helps, and I love that. So I hope you find you like. We'll be right back with you. If you want to be on the show, going to be a link in the chat, and I look forward to seeing all of you. See you soon. Well, hello, and thank you for joining me today. I know it's that time of year when everybody and their dog is talking about going back to school, and everybody's worried of, do we mask, do we not mask? The whole situation is not what anybody chose. So I'm here to help you just navigate some challenges that you may have when you're considering your option of homeschooling, or whether you're continuing to homeschool. If you said last year because of the pandemic and you want to continue because just everything is so crazy, I hear you. Totally get that. And I want to help you walk through the questions, the concerns, the challenges that you have. So I'm going to put link into the chat. And regardless of where you're from or whether you're watching this live or replay, please know where you're watching from so I can help you with specific information. Okay, so I've put this link up. If you ask a question, you can do it in the chat or live. Be happy to have you on the show. So, right now, I'm in Ontario, Canada. And even joining from anywhere else in the world, there is always a way to overcome the obstacles that you may be feeling right now. The stresses and the anxieties that you have. The You're not alone. You're not the first person to ask the questions that you're asking yourself right now. And some of you may be downright thinking, there is no way I can do this. It is not right for my family, and I can't. And those are probably the most challenging times. When, let's say, you work full time. How do you homeschool? How do you take care of your children? There are a lot of things we're going to do today. First, I'm going to talk about Ontario, but don't leave, because a lot of the information that I get here will also help you make choices and decisions that you have to make in wherever you are. So first of all, welcome. The idea of homeschooling, unschooling, or naturally learning can be scary. And it's not your fault. It's not anything you did that makes it scary. There is a factor that you might not know. For 4 to 6 generations, 150 to 200 years, we've had this situation of government school, whereby all the taxes go to the Ministry of Education, or the education people that are responsible, and that money tricked down to the schools. So here in Ontario, we have a per student funding model, and then from the taxes goes to schools. Now, we've only had that system since 1871 in Ontario, and in the United States, that it starting to be introduced in 1841. And prior to that, the model came from Prussia. Now, I do a whole other workshop and video on the history of the education system. But please note that prior to this model coming in, parents have always been responsible for their children's education, and you are no different. You're responsible for your child's education, and regardless of where you live or where you travel, you will always have that responsibility and that right. The system, the government, have heard the term compulsory education, and that term literally means probably not what you think it means. It means that the state government is compelled to provide education for its citizens, not what most people think, that the citizens are compelled to take advantage of or participate in in that education that they're providing. Now, of course, if it is what you need for you and your family, then you want to look into it to understand it more. Parents looking for daycare for their children will interview a potential candidate, a daycare provider. They will research and look up references. They will ask them important questions about how they do things and why they do those things. Don't make the mistake of just saying, it's my child is school age, I just put them into the nearest public school. Be as thorough as you would be with a child care provider with the school system. And I can easily point you that direction of research. If you want a note in the comment, that would be great. So, next thing is, if you've been homeschooling all your life, you may feel the need that, at certain times you might need a change. You might need to up your game. You may need different resource for your children. So it is constantly changing, beautifully navigated voyage. Going back to our new families who are still trying to decide whether this is the right thing for them or not. Maybe you have. And I'm going to go through a few things that are eloquently and beautifully put on the Ontario Federation of Teaching Parents website, OFTP. If you would like to join me at that website, or I'm just going to share this website with you. Let me jump in there now. Is the But I'm hoping that you're still. Oh my! That's not where I. Okay, we're still live on one of those systems, and let me just make sure that glitch didn't lose us completely. We're good. Good to go. Okay, so if you want to join on this page, it is OntarioHomeschool.org. And that will be where you can find a lot of really good information for you to follow. I've been a member of the Ontario Federation of Teaching Parents for a long time, and I was the secretary for the organization over 25 years ago. And currently, I am still on the executive. So I want to point you to this how to start homeschool in Ontario. And not just in Ontario, but primarily Ontario for this document. But if you're beginning homeschool somewhere else, please drop where you're homeschooling in the chat, and I can direct you to resources and information for your location if you have found them already. So first, the note is that this is the information page for withdrawing your child from homeschooling, not for just starting homeschooling. Now, if children, now this is important in Ontario, if your children have never been registered in the public school system, there is no requirement to do so. And we'll go into that more. But if children have never been enrolled in the public system, you do not have to enroll them. So when they get to be 4 or 6, and you haven't ever enrolled them, you don't need to. So don't worry about that. If you are withdrawing your children from the public education system, there is a request from a policy that is directed from the Ministry of Ontario of Education to the boards of education, that the boards of education are responsible for following. They will request. Policy says the words should send a letter. But if you were withdrawing your child from any program, you would normally let them know that your child will not be returning, so they don't have to prepare or expect that child to return to the program. And that's all this is. It's a polite information. You can do it by letter. You can do it by all sorts of different ways. You could do it by phone if you really wanted to. But having it in writing is the best bet, because when you are removing your children, if you want to identify that you homeschooling, they are supposed to give you a letter stating that you have notified them that you're homeschooling. Similarly, you can get a letter from the Ontario Federation of Teaching Parents to state that you are a member in good standing of the Ontario Federation of Teaching Parents, and that letter should work the same as the letter that you would get from the Board of Education. Now, the only reason that you would need the letter is if you the letter from either place, the Ontario Federation of Board of Education, Teaching Parents, or the school board, that letter would be used for maybe obtaining courses that are run through the Ministry of Education. If you are wanting to do that, please go through the information here, but recognize that it's just a policy. It isn't law. By law, you are not required to send anything, but I would definitely notify them in writing that you're withdrawing your child. Now, one of the things, if you don't want to be identified or placed in that basket of, the word homeschooling, if you want to unschool, or if you want to, find some other word, I would seriously suggest using the phrase, we have chosen private alternative. That will not place you in a catch-all label that not everybody understands. So unschoolers, radical unschoolers, don't want to have anything to do sometimes with the term homeschooling, because homeschooling may be perceived as doing school at home and not be about learning. So I do a workshop on home education 1, where I go through all those terms and labels and perceived ideas, and I'll give you information of that course at the end of this video. So if your child's been attending a private school or registered to attend one, then the school board does not need to be notified of switch to homeschooling. It is only the private school that you would notify in whatever way you usually communicate with. Do not hesitate to make the withdrawal from school the absolute first step. If your child is having issues with bullying or anxiety or any issues, special needs that are not being met, there is a huge resource community for you here around you and online. So regardless whether you are wherever you are, I can help you find people who haven't found them yourself yet. So the next step, deschool your child. Deschooling is the process of deconditioning from the methodology that's being used in the system that they were in before. Sometimes can take 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it can take a year. But the process ultimately refers to the time that the parent and the child need to question and challenge their assumptions, to relearn how to love learning. And this also goes from looking at education from a pedagogical viewpoint, but also shifting to an andragogical or logical approach. So deschool your children, deschool your mind. So this is for children and parents. We have expectations that don't know where we got them. They should be in the grade. They should be doing this. We have gaps. Will they have a learning loss? All of those things are part of the conditioning that we've had, and they are not carved stone. Grade levels exist in the system, in the government system. Those bars of my child should be at this level or level. If you think they're behind, all those words don't recognize education as an individual process. They are only comparative or competitive. So we start with deprogramming ourselves and our children and challenging those assumptions that we have about education. Homeschooling is not one thing. There is as many ways to learn as there are children and people to learn. And as parents, we have different resources. We have different situations. We have different beliefs, different traditions, different backgrounds, different ways of communicating with each other. And those should all be acknowledged in the method and the way that we want our children to learn. And the goals that we have for them and the goals that they have themselves. So let's pull this up a bit. All right. So then choose your teaching style. When we talk teaching style, we also think about learning styles. And learning styles don't presume that learning styles are more than preferences. I much prefer listening to books on tape than reading books. I had dyslexia as a young person, and but I can read both. But if I'm viewing, if I'm listening to it, if I'm writing notes about it, then I am understanding it better. So even though somebody might have a preferred method, like building something or drawing something artistic, don't forget to add in those other methods as well. It creates a holistic learning understanding. Okay, so there's lots of information here. Choose your learning materials. One of the first things you don't want to do when you start homeschooling is run out and buy lots of curriculum. Honestly, it is one of the biggest mistakes that new homeschoolers make. You don't need to run out and buy curriculum. You need to do that deschooling thing. You need to get to know your kids. There are a million different curriculum suppliers. So when you think about, you just taken your out of a system, and you are no longer required to follow that system. That's that system and for that environment and those motives. So now you have the opportunity to think and decide. Look at it, see what it is, understand why it's put there, and then begin to research other things based on what you're learning about your child, how they learn, what they like, how are you going to benefit them. And yes, I do all of this from a science-based approach with children and families, and help families transition to the true understanding of what learning is and how children learn and how adults learn. Starting program, having a schedule may not be what you want, but it also be what you want. I made up a schedule for every week because I needed that structure for me. We didn't always follow it, but it's there as a backup if we wanted to. And we'd allow unexpected events to happen in our learning. So some we would not know what was going to happen next, and that's okay. All right. So networking and socializing. Just before I go on, making sure I didn't miss anything there from the. Yeah, tailor everything to your own unique child or children and your own unique situation, instead of being stuck with a rigid norm-based structure. Absolutely true. Working and socializing. So for now, with COVID, we have to be careful. We have to understand that things are a little different, right? So there are hikes that you can go on. You can still go outside, Just be aware of what other people's comfort levels are, whether you want to have a mask on, whether you don't want to have a mask on. Be conscious of what other people in your group, friends or network are feeling. And be sensitive to some people are not comfortable wearing masks. Some people are. And you might be uncomfortable in a group of people who aren't wearing masks. But when you're going out a hike in the woods, and you have that ability to have distance from each other, that's a different thing. I currently go swimming at a hotel that has memberships for its the citizens live locally, and there are 15 people allowed in the pool. And of course, don't wear masks in the pool, but they are doing all the correct safety procedures. And so a group, children, parents can come and swim and go outside and play, mini putt and a safe environment. As it like things are possibly closing down again around October, you want to keep those thoughts in mind and make arrangements with your local support groups, because there may be small groups of people doing different things. Help protect your rights. That is huge, absolutely huge. The Ontario Federation of Teaching Parents work very hard to support people, even if they aren't members. So man the phone line. We have the membership if people are supporting our legal rights and protecting the rights that we have. But we have a lot of really wonderful people who have been home educating for a long time. Alrighty, we are coming on the end of my time today, and I just want to help those people that may not be in Ontario, that there are lots of support networks, places that you can get information from. Please leave a comment in in wherever you're watching today. I am streamed to LinkedIn, YouTube, and 3 Facebook groups. So I look forward to answering your question, helping you find the answers to your questions, and supporting you and your rights to homeschool. So welcome if you're new to home educating. There is a lot information out there. Take the time to be with your children, and because there are so many books and so many videos, so much resources there that you could literally do all of those things and never get around to homeschooling your child or home educating, helping your child learn. So let's meet on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, or my Instagram I will give you is I'll post it in the comments. And I'm so glad you're able to be with me here today. I look forward to chatting with you.